are glad to be with you. My name is Carrie, and I'm with my sister Julie, and we are the co-founders of A Natural Shift. And we want to make healthy living simple for you. So we come here every Wednesday at 12:30 to just give you some inspiration around how can you make simple changes to really feel big effects in your health and well-being. And we know that sometimes it can seem really overwhelming. So we really try to break it down to super simple, easy things that maybe you already have in your home that you could use in different ways than you ever knew. Or like today, we're going to talk about, hey, if you don't really tend to cook a lot and you're out and about and you eat at restaurants a lot, how can you actually just make that healthier, right? You know, we would love if we all cooked at home, and that's our goal, right, to kind of get you there. But if you're not there yet, we want to give you some tips for wherever you're at. So that's what we're kind of going to dive into today. But first, I wanted to give you just a few announcements. Last week, we talked about how we were kind of revamping our site and that it was going to be live today. And it is live. So if you want to go over and check that out, it is www.anaturalshift.com. And it's kind of got a whole new makeover. So, same recipes on there. Obviously, we've added some new ones since then, but just some great information and in a great format to just allow you to see what all we offer, give you some great information. So it's a wealth of knowledge over there. So we have actually a whole Learn tab because we are all about education. So go check that out while you're there. See what great insights you can pick up from there, and let us know what you think. We'd love some feedback from you, and head on over there whenever you get a chance. One more announcement is that tomorrow night, we are going to be on a video conferencing called Zoom. If you've ever heard of that, we're going to be on there chatting about what it's like to have your own natural health business. If you've ever wondered that, if you've ever kind of just were curious about it, message us, get the link, hop on over there and join us tomorrow night. It's going to be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're just going to be discussing what that looks like for us, what it looks like at a very basic level, nothing high level, nothing crazy. There's definitely no obligation to come. You can come and just listen and soak up the knowledge and sort of experiences that we've had. So I wanted to mention that to you guys. If anybody would like to join us, we can definitely send you the link for that. Okay, so today's question or topic is, I eat out a lot. I'm at restaurants a good bit. How can I make healthier choices at restaurants? So we each have kind of our own tips, so we're just going to kind of volley back and forth, and I'm going to go first. So this may seem kind of obvious, but my number one tip is I usually just get a salad. This makes it super easy for me because I'm less likely to, look through even all the other categories of food. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm going to get a salad, and then I'll look at these other things, and I'm like, gosh, that looks really good. But if you have your mind set, I'm just going to get a tasty salad, right? They usually have at least 4 or 5 different varieties of salads at any restaurant that you would go to most of the time, especially like a sit-down restaurant. So just pick one off of there. I love to get the salad dressing on the side as well, because sometimes the salad dressing ruins a salad. So try to get it on the side. Try to maybe stick to more of an oil-based salad dressing. Sometimes I just get oil and vinegar if I'm just feeling that way, or if they don't have a balsamic vinaigrette, I'll just get oil and vinegar and put it on there myself. So that is tip number one, is to try to stick with a salad. Now, what are you going to eat with that salad? If perhaps you don't like one of the entree salads, you could just get a side salad and let's say, a piece of meat, grilled chicken maybe, and then just a simple sweet potato. I love to get sweet potatoes at restaurants. They just, I don't know, they taste better than what I make at home. Sometimes they cook them differently or something, but they're always cooked really well. And I just tend to get the butter, and sometimes they have like cinnamon and sugar that come on top of them. I just ask for that all on the side. And so I can use a little bit if I want to. Or lots of times I don't need anything on a baked sweet potato because it just tastes good and it's sweet and it's yummy. So that is something that I get a lot. And, I don't really feel deprived when I go to a restaurant and get that because it tastes different than I make at home. And it's just, it's filling. It's good. I don't really look, and I wouldn't tell you guys to feel like you're depriving yourself when you go out at a restaurant. But I know if I eat something that is like a pasta or a ton of bread or something that's smothered in cheese, like I'm just not going to feel good when I leave. I'm already probably not going to feel as good as if I would have eaten at home because they just add more salt and more things like that to your food in any restaurant you go to versus eating at home. So just try to stick with things that don't have a lot of sauces and, aren't bread and pasta. Sure. Go ahead.
That's the easiest way, right?
Right. That's the easiest way.
I just wanted to say about the sweet potatoes, because I do the same thing as you. If you get sweet potatoes, I had somebody tell me once, I was like, just try it without anything on it. I promise you it's sweet enough. And she was like, I could not even believe how good it was and how sweet it was. But if you like the cinnamon, just get cinnamon on the side and just sprinkle the cinnamon on it, because that is like delicious in and of itself. And then I wanted to make another comment because, everybody probably knows how much you and I both love salad. And you mentioned getting it on the salad dressing on the side, which is super important. But I like to, and I know you do the same, I like to use kind of a fork dip method.
Yeah, that's good. I didn't mention that.
Dip your fork into the salad dressing and then onto the lettuce, versus if you pour it over the lettuce, you tend to use more than you really need. And if you just dip it in the dressing and then get your lettuce on your fork, I promise it will be enough. And you'll look and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm finished with the salad and I haven't even used half of it. So that's just another way to kind of scale back, still have the good flavor, but kind of scale back on the amount that you're eating.
Yes. And you might think, well, gosh, if it's a balsamic vinaigrette, why would I want to scale back? And a balsamic is way better than like a ranch or something, but it still has more ingredients than if you were to buy a super clean brand, or if you just made it yourself, which we've talked about is really easy. So just think about those things, which at any rate, if you're used to eating just like burger and fries, something fried, and you eat this, it's going to, whatever you do, it's going to be better than the alternative. So don't be too hard on yourself, but these are just tips so that you can make the best out of your experience, yet still go out with your family, enjoy being with them, and don't feel like you have to splurge. I think that's also, and I didn't mention this, it's a mindset, because I don't eat out a ton. We've talked about that. We usually eat at home, or sometimes we can bring our food, but I do love to go out and experience going out to eat with my family, just because it's fun, it's different. They get excited because we don't go out that much. So, and I used to have in my mind, I'm just going to get whatever I want because we don't go out to eat that much. So I'm just going to splurge every time I go out to eat. And now I'm like, why did I think that? Like, I don't have to do that. It's already different than I would normally eat, which is sort of a splurge if you were to think about it that way. And it's just something special to just go out to eat in general. So I would just, maybe consider changing your mindset, which is key in all of this. And we always mention that. When you go into the restaurant, don't think, this is a free-for-all. I'm out to eat. I don't go out to eat very often. I'm just going to get whatever I want to. Just try to think, I'm going to get something that's good. I'm going to get full, and I'm going to focus on spending time with whoever you're with. That really is fulfilling in itself, not necessarily gorging out on food and feeling terrible. So a couple more tips. Soup is usually a good option as well. Try to stick with something that is like, a broth-based type soup, not a creamy soup, which, if you were to just get a small cup of it and you really love that and that was your splurge item, it wouldn't be as bad as maybe, a larger fried meal or something like that. So sometimes that can be a good option depending on what soup that you get. Also, be aware of what you eat before the meal. So if they bring out bread or chips or something like that, it's so easy to just eat all of that before you actually get your meal. Maybe, and I've done this before, so I've gotten my healthy meal. I'm like, yes, I'm doing good. But then they bring out the bread, I eat like 3 pieces of bread. So it's not the end of the world, of course, but you just be aware of that and maybe just have one little small piece of bread or something, or just say, I'm going to skip this and I'm just going to really enjoy my meal. Or sometimes I'll just be like, no, we don't want any bread. You can do that. You don't have to accept it, right? You can just tell them, no, we're fine, which, of course, my husband and kids usually want the bread. So I understand that it's usually something that's out on the table, but just be aware that that does add to your meal, what you eat beforehand. So try to look for options without bread is what I normally do, especially if I know they're going to bring bread before the meal. So, if you can, like I said, get a salad, that's the easiest thing, because most of the time there's like hamburgers and sandwiches and entree type meal. So just think about that. Maybe you could get a hamburger without the bun if you really wanted that. You maybe could still even enjoy a few fries. If you really just, if you've got your mindset and you want that, just try to make the meal a little bit healthier by cutting out things that you wouldn't necessarily miss if they were gone. Because I'd much rather have a hamburger without the bun and just eat the fries, and that'd be my kind of treat. So lastly, look for restaurants, if it's not set where you're going to go, look for restaurants in the area that are healthier. So I love traveling with my sister because anywhere we go, she normally knows where all the healthy restaurants are because she has researched. So if you're traveling through, let's say, Atlanta or some city that you are traveling through to get somewhere else, look and see where you're going to be around lunchtime and like try to plan out. It really does save you just some headache, first of all, but definitely you can pick a healthier restaurant where maybe you've been to before and you're like, man, they have a really good salad there. I'm going to get this salad or whatever you want. And it really does help you kind of make better choices when you know what they already have, and you can pick choices based around that. So those are my tips, and I know Julie has got some great ones because I'm telling you, she's an expert at this.
Those are great tips. I love those. So a few of my tips, I would say before you go to the restaurant, or maybe even while you're waiting for your food, try to drink like a big glass of water. And that's going to just kind of go ahead. Number one, get you hydrated, get you a little bit fuller so that you're not feeling like, you have to just stuff tons of food, in your mouth, especially if you go there and you're already really hungry. Another thing that you might want to do, I just wanted to mention this when we talked about water. This would be something you would probably have to like carry with you, but drinking some apple cider vinegar like before your meal in some water, or even you could just like take a shot of it, has actually been shown to make you stay fuller longer. It helps to lower your blood sugar levels, and it also helps to burn fat. So even like before you go out to eat, maybe take a shot of that or drink some of it, in a little bit of water would be good to kind of, again, help you stay a little bit fuller and not feel like you have to overeat. I like to, if I know that I am going out to eat, there's kind of two mindsets on this. If I'm going out to eat at night, then I don't want to go starving. So I'm going to try and eat, either a bigger meal towards lunch or, my lunch and then a good snack. So I'm not starving when I get there. Sometimes we tend to have the opposite mindset and think, oh, I'm just going to save up till I go out to eat. And then I'm just going to eat, all this food. Well, I would encourage you to try not to do that, because you're not going to make good choices if you go there and hadn't had anything to eat all day and you're absolutely starving, right? And then you're going to feel terrible afterwards. It'll taste good while you're eating it, but then you'll feel terrible afterwards. Try to eat a little bit slower when you get your food. And this is true. This is actually true. It takes, a few minutes for your body to kind of process the fact that you put food in your stomach. And I promise you, if you will slow down with your meals, even like putting your fork down between each bite, like just try to make intentional, deliberate choices like that, so that your body goes ahead and recognizes, okay, I'm getting full, and you're not just like shoving everything in your mouth so quickly, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, why did I do that?
Isn't it interesting how you're talking for the meal, and then once the meal gets there, everybody is like quiet? That always happens.
Yeah, exactly. So try to be a little intentional on that. And I would also say, if portion control is a problem for you, because, and not just you, like everybody, I struggle with that. I struggle with portion control, because when something tastes good, we just want to keep eating and eating, even if we're full, right? So what a good idea to do, this is so easy at home, because you can just put the amount that you know that you should have on your plate. But when you're out to eat, what happens? Like everything in America, especially, is like supersized everything, right? So, and it's usually, honestly, the portions are like enough for two people. So what you could do is go ahead and ask for a box right away, box up half of your food, and then you can have it for another meal, like maybe lunch the next day. That saves you money. It saves you time making something else, and you're not eating that huge portion, and you're, working on that portion control. So I would encourage you to do that.
Beth just commented with a great method. She says there's the 5-5-7 method. You between eating, you breathe for 5 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and release for 5 seconds. I guess that just kind of makes you think about what you're doing and makes you slow down, basically.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I love that, because this is really all about, incorporating these small daily habits, or this might not necessarily be daily, but these habits that will then lead to, or changes, I should say, that will lead to a habit. This will just become a habit for you, and can make, some really big impacts on your health just by incorporating these little things. So I love that. I'm glad you shared that. Okay, next, don't be afraid to take your food with you, okay? I know that we have talked about this before, and I just want to say, it might not be, I don't necessarily mean take your whole meal, because maybe you're not ready for that step. It took me a little while to get comfortable with that. But things that you could think about taking with you that would really help are take your own salad dressing. Like have a little mason jar of your salad dressing, stick it in your purse. Like it takes 2 seconds, and then you can still get a salad with some yummy stuff on it, but then, drizzle your own salad dressing on it or use that fork dip method. And then the other place that I like to take something healthier in with me is when we go and eat Mexican. I'll often take my own chips because that's another thing. Oh my goodness, you can load up on those chips. Yeah. Not only tons of calories, they're just not good for you. The stuff that is in those, the preservatives, the chemicals, all of that is not good. So maybe take your own chips. Just take a little bag in your purse, and I promise you, nobody's even going to notice. Nobody's even going to be paying attention to what you're doing. So you just, pull those out. I do that all the time. And I feel like that really saves, and I don't feel as bad afterwards.
Right. And if you only take a small amount, you're usually not going to eat more than that. Like it really is a form of portion control as well. So.
Good point. Take them in a little Ziploc bag or something like that. Very good point. Okay. Now another tip would be, look at the appetizers that they have on the menu, and maybe you just want to get 1 or 2 appetizers instead of a whole meal. Maybe you don't want to take any to go and box up half of the meal. So maybe get an appetizer, something like some shrimp, not fried shrimp, but something like maybe grilled shrimp or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then a small side salad, or, you could think about ways to do that. I do that a lot because a lot of times I like the appetizers better than meals anyway. So that would be another tip. Opt for, if they have steamed or grilled vegetables as a side, opt for that versus something like fries or mashed potatoes, things that are heavier and starchier. I would opt, to get, because usually they do put some seasoning on those and they usually taste pretty good. So that's, another way to kind of healthy it up just a little bit. We talked about requesting your salad dressing on the side, but I would also encourage you to request any sauce on the side. I think Carrie mentioned that with the sweet potatoes, but if, like, say you're getting a steak or some kind of chicken that has sauce on it, just ask for it on the side. They are happy to do that for you. And then you can just use a small amount and it's not like covered, smothered in it.
Yes.
Okay. Couple of words to be on the lookout for on your menu. So when you're looking at the menu, I want you to look and avoid words or items that have these words in them. Creamy, buttery, breaded, stuffed, smothered. That usually means loaded with junk, basically, right? Calories, fat. Not healthy fat, bad fat. So try to stay away from things that are, those words are in the description. And then look for things like grilled, broiled, baked. That's kind of the items that you want to really, or blackened. That, would be the items you kind of want to stick with. Another thing that I find that people don't really know, sometimes when we see gluten-free, like maybe you're not even gluten-free, but you look at a menu and you're like, oh, that's gluten-free. It must be healthy, right?
It's all marketing and they do all of that. Yeah.
It is. And certainly if you, have a true gluten intolerance or you're avoiding gluten or you have celiac, then of course you're going to need to get gluten-free options. But if you don't, I just want to say, don't think that the gluten-free items are healthy for you. In fact, they usually put something else in to replace, the gluten that's missing. So a lot of times based on, what the actual food and product is, a lot of times it's not healthier for you. So just want to make people aware of that.
That's completely true.
Another thing that I love to do, and a lot of restaurants now display their nutritional content on the menu, which is great because you can make a better choice just by looking. Sometimes I have gone and I've looked at salads. Now, usually they might have some, fried chicken on them or something. Mm-hmm. But we're talking over 1,000 calories in a salad. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So if you see that, your brain is more likely to say, oh, wait, I don't need to have this. I hope anyway, maybe you can train it too anyway. But if you go to a restaurant that does not share that on their menu, you can use MyFitnessPal MyFitnessPal has tons of restaurants loaded into it, and you can just actually search, whatever dish at whatever restaurant. I mean, you just put it in the search bar, and a lot of times you'll find that it will pull that up, and it'll tell you the whole nutritional profile, which is actually more than you get at the restaurant usually. Sometimes they'll just give you calorie content.
Because sometimes, like salads, if they have like avocado or something like that, I mean, that can drive up the calorie count, but it's actually good fat. So that's a really great point. You kind of see the whole profile.
Exactly. So use MyFitnessPal. It's a free app on your phone, or you can actually do it on the computer as well if you plan ahead for that. Yeah. And then my last tip is, a lot of times we want dessert, right? I mean, I know I have a sweet tooth, or maybe it's not even you. Maybe it's your family, and they just want dessert. And maybe you're going to let them have a treat, but that's like really tempting for you, or it is for me anyway, whenever that happens, because honestly, one bite, then I want like the whole thing.
Yes.
I mean, there's like no middle ground. So it's just better for me to not have any taste, because it's like that one taste of sugar just turns on. It really does.
It does.
It turns on these receptors in your brain, and it's just like a drug. Like I want more and more and more and more. So if you know that about yourself, one thing that I find helpful is I will take some gum. I love the Slim and Sassy gum that doTERRA makes, or I will take some type of mint. I usually actually use like an On Guard throat lozenge and just pop that in my mouth like right away after I eat. Because usually if you've got something minty or something like that in your mouth, then who wants to eat something sweet after you just put something minty in your mouth? That's kind of gross. So I think that, to me it is. I think that has helped me a lot of times avoid eating something sweet. So I think kind of making those, intentionally, of course, you have to be cognizant, and it has to be intentional, and just making some of those small decisions will really help you avoid, some of the pitfalls that happen when you go and eat out.
Yes. I hope this has been helpful for me. I'm definitely using the appetizer trick because I don't usually do that. And Beth even mentioned that that's a great idea, because if there's food in front of you, you're probably going to eat it, So think about that. And especially if you're going to eat, if they have bread and you're like, oh, I just really want a piece of bread. I mean, get something smaller. Just think about these things, because if you get a large meal and then eat that, I mean, you're going to be completely stuffed and miserable by the end of the meal, which I know we've all been there. And I'm not saying that I'm never there. It's just, I think about these things because I remember last time, God, I felt terrible when I ate that meal. So just think about that, when you sit down and you try to make a good choice, think about the last time you felt that just blah feeling. And Beth already has already went to our new site, and thank you for the compliment. She said it looks great. So just another reminder to visit our site if you haven't been over there. It just went live, I think, yesterday. So it's brand new, got some great things on there for you. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, super excited about that. And it's got, I wanted to mention, Carrie mentioned a couple things. I did want to mention a couple things that I'm excited about. We have kind of a breakdown of our wellness planning services, which we actually did a little class on that last night. So you could go back and watch that recording if that's something that you're interested in learning more about. And we talked about kind of our philosophy on the 3 areas of healthy living and what those are and how we can make some adjustments. And then also how we can provide support to you to make those changes in your own life. So definitely check that out. Carrie also mentioned we have a Learn tab on the new website that has a link to all of our videos in different categories. So I think that is, to me, that's going to be super helpful kind of in one area. So I love that. Something else that I did want to mention, actually there's 2 more things. We have, and this is the first time we've mentioned it, and we'll continue to remind you guys about this, but we are actually going to have a wellness workshop. It will be a live workshop in Warner Robins on June the 2nd. And we'll have more details coming out about that over the next couple of weeks. But this, y'all, I mean, this is like, oh my God.
I'm like so excited.
We're so excited about it. We're going to have, it will be an interactive workshop where we'll do a nutritional cooking segment. We'll do a yoga class. We have a yoga instructor going to teach that. And then we'll also be giving some education around supplements and essential oils and self-care. And you're going to get to enjoy a delicious meal. It's going to be amazing. We have little goodie bags. We have, I think, 4 sponsors right now that are going to contribute to the goodie bag. So, oh my goodness, y'all. I mean, we're so excited. So be on the lookout for that because spots will be limited. We're going to have to cap at 25 because of the space. This is kind of an intimate, it's a beautiful location and it's kind of an intimate space. And so, we'll have to cap that. But be on the lookout for that. And also, if you are not signed up for our monthly email, please go to our website, or you can actually access it here on Facebook, right, Carrie?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can sign up for our monthly email because we're going to be sending details on the wellness workshop in addition to some other tips. It goes out the first of every month. So don't miss the May version or email that goes out on that around that. And then one last thing before we hop off, Carrie mentioned, I wanted to remind you guys that tomorrow night we will be doing a little class. It won't be super long, maybe 30 or 45 minutes on what it's like to have your own wellness-based business. And we have just been, so blessed by what we're doing. I mean, gosh, I could talk on it forever, but I won't. So jump in tomorrow night, though, if that's something that you are interested in. We would love to have you. Mm-hmm. And next week, we won't be here. We will be off. We'll be traveling. So we won't be here next Wednesday. We'll be back in May with some new topics. If you have questions around anything around healthy living, then please, private messages, post them. It's somewhere.
The link in the comments. So if you have a topic or question, you can fill out that link. Yeah.
Perfect. And then we'll hop on and answer those on one of our Wednesday noon broadcasts. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining, and we will see you soon.